everybody, Tyron the God 3 here. Welcome back to Dragon Ball Super Reviews. Today we'll be doing the review of episode 108. This episode's titled Frieza and Frost Conjoin Malice. This episode basically begins with Gohan fighting a Yardrat warrior. And, okay, I don't know exactly how strong this Yardrat warrior is. And then again, asking how strong a character is in Dragon Ball Super is pretty non-irrelevant. Anybody can fight anybody in Dragon Ball Super. It's fine. And you know what? There's actually a guy who made a video basically stating how ridiculous powers levels are just in the Dragon Ball series in general. Now, there were some points I agreed to and there's some points I disagreed to, and I'll actually even try to make a discussion video countering some of the things when it comes to certain powers and why we measure power in certain ways and things like that. But, okay, basically what I got from it was, okay, one of the most impressive things that can be done in anime is when all characters are pretty much on the exact same playing field. There's just a certain skill about that character that makes them stand out. But here, this is Dragon Ball, and more specifically, it's Dragon Ball Super, where none of the characters really have anything that makes them stand out other than the fact that they may have a unique power here or there. But it's nothing that ultimately changes the basis of what a Dragon Ball fighter is. A key example of this, oddly enough, isn't even in Dragon Ball Super. It's in Dragon Ball Xenoverse, where you can make your own character. But the concept is still the same. All the characters are not dramatically different from each other. There's no skills that a specific character has above another character that makes them stand out. And basically, from what I'm standing here in Dragon Ball Super, that means that a lot of the characters here just sort of shoot energy blasts, punch really fast, and fly around, and blow up rocks, and teleport real fast and stuff like that. Basic Dragon Ball Z stuff. So when you have an entire tournament full of characters that can pretty much do that, then making certain characters stronger than certain characters or weaker than certain characters does become more or less a necessity, because we need to know the levels of power that each of these characters are compared to each other. That way we know exactly what the stakes are in battle. Otherwise, it's anybody can beat anybody's ass, and it's not really leveled at all. The only characters I see here in this tournament right now that are known to be significantly strong are Jiren, obviously, Toppo, and Dispo, because they're a part of the main group of, you know, the main three baddies, the big ones in charge. You know, they're part of the Pride Troopers, which are the main antagonists of this saga right now. And then there's obviously Goku and Vegeta, because they're Super Saiyan Blue and their characters have been focused on the most in the series. There's Hit, because Hit is, you know, the last main fighter that Goku fought in the tournament, in the Universe 6 tournament. So obviously he's a giant threat. Well, somewhat of a threat. And then there's Kale, because they forced her into being Broly, and they're jacking our Broly fan service. But anyway, back to the episode. The episode basically begins, and this goes into what I was talking about. Gohan's fighting a Yardrat warrior. And why I point this out is because it's clear that Gohan is only using his base form in order to fight this Yardrat warrior. But he's still having big difficulties with this Yardrat warrior, all because of his instant transmission technique. Now here's what I have the problem with this is, just because the Yardrat warrior is using instant transmission doesn't mean he's unstoppable. As you know, it takes focus in order to use instant transmission. Goku even explains this, and he's done it once before, and he's even had problems using instant transmission in multiple places because it requires focus. You can't turn around and say, oh, this is specifically when it comes to Goku. Yardrat has invented the instant transmission, so they're not going to have a problem with it. No, it requires focus basically for everyone except for the Supreme Kai. So that's not even a big flaw. That's just, I believe requiring focus is a most noticeable weakness, but I think they just went ahead and did this so they could have a victim in play so that Frieza can show up. Frieza basically decides that he's going to watch the fight between the Yardrat and Gohan, even though Gohan didn't really need Frieza's help at all. Frieza decides to go ahead and beat up the Yardrat to the point where he's basically near death. And this was all to show off, ooh, look how powerful Frieza is. Ooh, he's so strong. So it's just plugging Frieza in, because it's like, what? Why would you make Gohan the damsel in distress in this situation when he's not even using his full power, or even his Super Saiyan transformation, or Super Saiyan 2 for that matter? You specifically made him weak for this particular situation just to jack Frieza off for a second, and I don't really care for too much for that. Anyway, after saving Gohan, I guess, he ends up going to Frost. Yeah, Frost just shows up. He's like, hey, I'm here too. And Frieza's like, well, since we're both a part of the same race, I'm gonna go ahead and join Frost. Racism be damned, I guess. So it's clear that they're about to join forces, air quotes. And Frieza goes and attacks Gohan. But it's very obvious that Frieza's just faking it because they did this whole, outline thing. They could have been a little bit more subtle with it, I guess. But, yeah, Gohan and Frieza had this little fake fight. Frieza transforms into Golden Frieza. And one thing I've noticed, because Frieza's done this twice already now, I don't like Golden Frieza anymore. Even in Resurrection F, I thought Golden Frieza was okay. I was like, alright, I don't know why he needs to exactly change color in order to get more powerful. But, whatever, he even explains that he wants to show off that it's a new form of power, and I don't know. Anyway, I don't like the way Golden Frieza transforms anymore, because it's too over the top. Yes, I know this is Dragon Ball. I know exactly what we're watching, and hell, literally, there's Sailor Moon ripoffs in this series right now that I like. But the thing about Frieza transforming is, they're not doing it for the sake of, they're doing it to show it off, but they're being obnoxious with it. How come they didn't do this in Resurrection F, or the movie for that matter? How come they didn't do this in the Resurrection F arc? They're just having them do this stuff now, and it's so grandiose as if to show, ooh, look at Frieza's shiny new form. It's like he didn't do this for any of his other transformations. Yeah, he just powered up and we got a sense of threatening. But there's different ways you can show off the atmosphere of threatening power levels being increased. Look at Dragon Ball Z if you want to see some good examples. Anyway, back to the series. Frieza kicks the ever-living crap out of Gohan because he's golden form now, but it's pretty obvious that they're faking it. Frieza basically then transforms back to normal. Frost is impressed. Then, for some reason, they both go 100% form. Gotta sell those toys, right? And Frieza just does that so he can trick Frost into lowering his guard. Frieza blasts him right off of the arena. Frost gets pissed. Frost tries to attack Frieza. And the Zeno, or the Omni Kings, end up pretty much just erasing Frost from existence. Thank goodness. Because, to be honest, we didn't need another Frieza clone, so it was almost like the Omni Kings were the writers, and they literally erased the mistake off the series. Good. After that point, Frieza's like, join me, Gohan, and together we can rule the world as father. It's wrong movie, I'm sorry. Join me, Gohan, and together we can rule the tournament as the son of the person I hate in Alien Empire? Whatever. Anyway, at that point, basically, the episode is over. Goku fights off against Rebreen. And I gotta be honest, this fight's been lasting for a while now. Goku's been fighting Rebreen for a bit. It's almost as if it's a Dragon Ball Z fight. It's been lasting an actual bit. But Goku's holding back. I'm not sure why he's holding back, but I guess he's just reserving his power for the next big episode. Anyway, with that all said and done, there's 25 minutes left for the tournament to end, so it basically ends on that note. As far as pros go, I didn't like this episode at all. I mean, a lot of the things that were put in here were just to jack Frieza off, just to show off how strong Frieza is. So, it existed. Hooray. But if I had to actually pick a pro, if I had to actually dig down deep and pick a pro to this episode, I do like the fact that I do like the idea that a character actually tried to attack fighters even while they're still on the tournament field. And the Omni Kings just said straight up, no bitch, and erased them from existence. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Just depleting Frost from existence was pretty interesting. I hope he doesn't come. I mean, he's gonna come back. I'm sure they're gonna find a way to restore everybody that got erased, but I thought it was interesting. Oh boy, here are the cons. I don't like Frost at all, so just his appearance can ruin an episode for me, personally. But I just don't like it was all brief. Frieza and Frost introduced each other in the tournament as if they were gonna do something big. They were gonna do this huge plot, something that would literally screw over multiple warriors in the tournament, just by how cunning the two could be at the time. When it turns out that really all that happened was, hey, you're a Frieza race person? Yes, I'm a Frieza race person. Are you a Frieza race person too? Yeah, we should go conjure up some evil together. That would sound great. And all they really ended up doing was just beating the crap out of Gohan, but it was a fake cease fight, just to betray Frost. I don't know if this was Frost's way of trying to redeem himself, or I don't know exactly what was going on here. But I wasn't impressed, I'll be honest with that. It's just, this whole episode was annoying. Gohan not being able to fight off against a simple Yardrat, even though he knew instant transmission. It's like, guys, just because a fighter knows instant transmission doesn't make them unstoppable. It just means they have a slight advantage when it comes to mobility. Obviously, the weakness is if they try to use instant transmission, they can show up in blind spots, but they can't show up in spots where the character is going to anticipate where hits are. I mean, if Gohan had literally just, waited a bit and tried to feel the Yardrat out when he was coming in, or try to do a barrage of attacks so that the Yardrat can't focus, then Gohan would have been able to catch him off guard and beat his ass. But no, instead he decided to play weak pansy on this one and get his ass beat by the Yardrat. But it is what it is, I guess. Overall, this episode existed, and there's not really much to say about it. I mean, this episode wasn't good, but it also wasn't the worst episode. I'm sure that's to come later on. Just everything about this episode just screamed, hey, we needed to make Frieza look good for a bit because he hasn't had his precious screen time in a while. But with that said, the next episode is actually a two-parter. There's two episodes, episode 109 and 110. I'm going to go ahead and review both of those in one bulk. The ultimate enemy approaches Goku. Now, let loose the killer spirit bomb. I've got comments just about that attack being used in this tournament alone, but whatever. And then the next episode is 110. This is the ultimate battle of all universes. Goku versus Jiren. So with that said, I'll see you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3, out.